Another day has arrived, and we are still in the same place of disarray. Hope is in the distance. I can see a tiny glimpse of light, just a tiny, tiny light. It is there, I know it. I can feel it in my heart. I have prayed for it for oh so long. I know that it is coming our way. Tomorrow may not arrive. Yesterday has gone, but this I know. Today is gonna turn out just right. Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our prayers are being answered, so don't despair. Someone we can trust, which has been a long time coming when our hopes were shattered. He is that tiny bright light in the distance. Tomorrow may not arrive. I can feel it in my heart. I have prayed for it for oh so long. I know that it is coming our way. Tomorrow may not arrive. Yesterday has gone, but this I know. Today is gonna turn out just right. Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our prayers are being answered, so don't despair. Someone we can trust, which has been a long time coming when our hopes were shattered. He is that tiny bright light in the distance.
Stupid people should wear signs, neon bright, so we can find a way to dodge their tangled mess, avoid their chaos more, say less. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Save me from your twisted line. Wear a sign, wear a sign. Nada, nada, don't waste your time. Politicians dance and spin, blatant lies with a practiced grin. Blame the moon, blame the stars, blame the traffic or faulty cars. You think they're 6, not 35, playing games to stay your
Ich muss eigentlich sagen, dass ich persönlich, ich trage keinen Zeichen. Kein Zeichen. Hier überhaupt nicht. Das ist für die Leute, die ein bisschen doof sind. Ja, die verrückte Leute. Manche sind besoffen. Die haben zu viel getrunken. Ja, besoffen. Ja, manche verrückte Leute, die sollen Zeichen tragen. Ja, ich nicht. Welcome back to the program, folks. It's Friday night. Just got paid. Johnny Kemp once said, Friday night just got paid. Remember that song? That's a long time ago, 1980s. Boy, I wonder Johnny Kemp's up to these days. One hit wonder. Wasn't even that big a hit. But welcome back to the program on a Friday night, folks. And everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it, right? That's what they say. Everybody's doing it. That's what the kids say. Everybody's doing it. That's what the demon rats are saying. You know, when a Capitol police officer died unrelated to the events of January 6th, they blamed on January 6th. Tried to punish people for it. Never happened. Then they lied about cops dying. No cops died. The only people died that day were people dumb enough to go in the building. Yeah, that's and like Ashley Babbitt, but that's and murdered by a Capitol police officer and covered up because he was black. They protected him because the next day or the day after that, when a black man tried to ram the Capitol building gates barriers and was shot by a Capitol police officer, that man who ran and tried to go into the Capitol building was black, and the Capitol policeman who shot him was white. So, of course, that name was exposed immediately. But we didn't know the name of the Capitol police officer who was black and murdered Ashley Babbitt. He only outed himself, and nothing ever happened to him. He's never been charged with a crime or dereliction of duty. Of course, that's the same Capitol police officer who left his loaded firearm in a public bathroom on the sink at the Capitol building. And then, you know, the coward shoots an unarmed woman. Yeah, anyway. So the Democrats lose their mind over the Capitol Police and turn them into heroes. And it takes them 8 decades to honor Merrill's Marauders, who were heroes beyond belief with a 99% casualty rate. Real heroes, not the cowardly Capitol Police who acted like fools on the 6th of January. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I was there. I saw how they behaved. But I blame it on their leadership, not the cops. They gave him a congressional star within days to part of their narrative, their fake insurrection. All the empathy in the world for those Capitol cops. Yeah, now they want to dox, harm federal law enforcement officials who are applying the law that Democrats voted for. They voted for these laws for, expelling illegal aliens. The Immigration Nationality Act was passed in 1980 under the Carter administration. The laws for coming to this country were established by a majority Democrat Congress. Democrats are attacking and doxing federal law enforcement officials who are complying with laws passed by Democrats. And by the same token, everybody does it. Letitia James apparently is accused of being a mortgage frauder. Everybody's doing it, this excuse. You honestly going to believe that this woman did it for $600? It wasn't $600. You see, they're spinning it every way they can because they're nothing but demonic liars. She actually got a benefit of nearly $20,000. She cheated the bank out of $20,000 by defrauding it. We find out that the FBI is investigating over 90,000 cases of mortgage fraud. But that's out of 100 million mortgages. 4,000 are being investigated by the FBI right now, including Letitia James. People of privilege who think that I'm caught. Here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing. James Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, Strzok, Page, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, Fannie Willis. They all assumed that the Democratic establishment had their back and that Trump would never be in office again. We'll make sure of that. But they were wrong. And their lawless violation of the Constitution is over. Abusing the American people is over. Arresting innocent fathers who were defending their child being assaulted by a pervert outside an abortion clinic and locking the father up of 8, arresting him on a Sunday to embarrass him and his family at his residence while letting the pervert who assaulted the minor child turn himself in. Those days are over. Your ghoulish murder children in the womb cult of climate change is ending. And it hurts, doesn't it? Oh, but it's all revenge. If she didn't commit mortgage fraud, what revenge is there to take on her? None. She hasn't been arrested for jaywalking. She hasn't been arrested for not paying parking tickets. She's been arrested for cheating a bank. Wait. Isn't that what she charged Trump with? Cheating the banks? But wait, in Trump's trial, which was bullshit, the state witness from Deutsche Bank sounded like a defense witness. Let me reiterate what happened in that trial for you. I don't know what the name of the witness was from Deutsche Bank, but we'll give it a German name. Hannah Schmidt. Miss Schmidt, I understand you oversaw the loan for the Trump organization. Yeah, this is correct. Hannah Schmidt, I oversaw. Well, that's not very good. I need a lady's name. Let's change the name to Arno Schmidt. Arno. Mr. Schmidt, I understand you oversaw the case. Yeah, that is correct. I oversaw the case. Arno Schmidt, for the Trump organization, from our offices in Frankfurt. Mr. Schmidt, did the Trump organization inflate the value of its assets in order to gain the loan with you? Well, we see this all the time. The real estate companies, they come to us, they say the property is worth this much. This is why we have independent auditors and we have loan officers. We do our due diligence. We look at the underlying assets, the potential, the taxes paid, the previous price, inflation, the current market. Now I sound French, not German. Something wrong there. Anyway, we look at all those things, says Arno. And in the case of the Trump administration, we didn't agree with their initial assessment of what the property was worth. We assessed it. We came up with a different figure, which was much lower than the Trump administration. We talked to them. We agreed on a price in between. Were both parties satisfied, Mr. Schmidt? Yeah, both parties were satisfied. Did they get a preferential interest rate? No, but they got the rate we offered. Did they default on payments? No, the Trump organization paid all the payments back on the loan on time. Was the loan paid off? Yes. Who was harmed by this act? Did your loan to the Trump organization prevent other businesses from securing loans from Deutsche Bank? No, nobody was denied a loan because there was no money available. In fact, we had a surplus of funds that year for loans. Not enough people sought to borrow money. So then defense cross-examination. Mr. Schmidt, do you feel that the Trump organization defrauded Deutsche Bank? Not at all. They're one of our best business partners. Most reliable, paying back their debt. We will do business with them anytime. That's essentially what happened in the trial. What was the verdict? Guilty. No evidence, just hysteria. And the $355 million fine, which is being appealed. It's utterly ridiculous. The fine is supposed to make someone whole again. Who is being made whole? Deutsche Bank wasn't cheated out of a loan. Can any claimant come forward and say they were denied a loan from Deutsche Bank because their loan went to Trump instead of them and they were better merit? Nobody can. So there is no harm. No one has been harmed. No law was broken. Nobody was harmed by this fake case other than the nation and our reputation. But there was no individual harm, no business harm. If anything, a judgment should have been for $1, not $355 million. But everybody's doing it. But isn't it ironic that Letitia James, who accused Donald Trump of inflating the value and cheating on a business deal for property loan, is indicted for fraud on a mortgage? Karma is a biatch. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Yep. By the way, have you noticed ever since Trump spoke at the United Nations, there hasn't been a single major news story about climate change anywhere? They'll come back. They're not done with it. But if you notice, Trump spoke at the UN a few weeks ago, and he destroyed the climate, religion, zealot narrative. No major. And prior to that, every single day, the polar ice caps are melting. The polar bears are starving. Oh, they're losing weight. They're not birthing cubs. The world is coming. The CO2. They don't talk about the climate successes. Do you know that Lake Erie caught on fire? The Cuyahoga River caught on fire in the 1970s. It was so polluted. Do you know that the Thames was undrinkable a century ago? Did you know the air was unbreathable in London in the 1940s? And Sheffield and Leicester and Manchester. Not the case today. Do you know that in the 1960s, 70s, there were over 50,000 automobile fatalities in America every single year on our roads? Now it's less than 24,000. I think it's 22,000 per year. Why? Airbags, ABS brakes, safer cars, more highways, and many more drivers, and a crackdown on drunken driving. Yep, consequences of drunken driving. But the world's melting. The world can't handle it. Well, the Lester Brown and the World Watch Institute lied to all of us in the 1970s. The end is nigh. The world will starve to death. It can't handle 4 billion people. Well, 5 billion, 6, 7, 8 billion. People are starving. Yeah, not because we don't produce enough food. We have a maldistribution of food, a poor distribution of food. There's plenty of food. We waste food all over the planet. Even in South Africa, 35 to 40% of all food has gone to waste. It's thrown out while children starve in the Eastern Cape. In America, in Europe, South Africa, Botswana, Africa, we have massive obesity rates. People walking around like beached whales because of their excessive diets in all those countries. People laugh about America, but look around. Take a look around yourself, South Africa. Walk down the aisle to Pick and Pay or Shopping Right. It's Hungry, Hungry Hippo Day every day of the week. All ethnicities, by the way. Yeah, but everybody's doing it, folks. It's all cool. Yeah. Speaking of everybody's doing it, this was a gift from Billy Painter when I was out west. It's a Patriot cigar. Don't smoke cigars very often. In fact, I don't even have my cutter, so I'm going to have to get a knife or something to cut the end of this. Later tonight, I plan on enjoying this cigar. Not in my house. I don't smoke here. I've never smoked here, and I never smoke in my house. But I'm going back to the Veterans Organization. I'm going to sit outside and enjoy a cigar. Yep. Thank you, Billy, for that. Gave me 2 of them. Right. I don't have a humidor, so I need to smoke it soon before it goes bad. All right. Adrian Frick, Helen de Swart, Peanut in a Basket, Charles Van Olsen, the voice of region, Husky7 is back. And then Sir Ronster JR Edits, interesting name, welcome to you. Cleo DePolo, welcome to you. Cleo of Chicken. DePolo, right? Sorry. Isn't polo chicken in Spanish? Poco loco. Daffodil, hello. Tasha CB's back. Good to see you again. Arctic is here. He looks like he's sober tonight. Dylan Comrick, one of the OGs there. Esmari, Rebecca, Loretta. Here we go again with foreign. Foreign what? I was born in Cape Town. Raina Flesh, welcome to you. Amanda Lowe. Alex 44066 is in from Ohio. Welcome to you. Philip Holtz. It's a problem with Democrats. You preach rules for others, but when you look at what they do, their lives are a mess. There, they are morally bankrupt, corrupt, thieving, lying bastards, the vast majority of them. Oh boy, and how wrong they were. Trump trumps them all. Honesty and integrity prevails time and again. Courtney says, almost never hear Democrats discuss climate change. Oh, that's what I was talking about. It's an existential threat to humanity. The Dems will never stop talking about it. Right. But it isn't. The narrative isn't working, so they backed off it. Philip Holtz is here. Kathleen Gurus. I'm sorry, I don't recognize that surname. Charles says, "Go Army." Jeremy D. in from Indonesia. Excuse me. Well, that's not how you spell Cuyahoga. No, it's C-U. Cuyahoga. Polo like the car, says Cleo. Okay, thank you, Cleo. From Marco Polo. Okay, thank you. Cleo is whatever. It's a Renault. It's a car. No, VW has a Polo. And Clipper 14. All right, cool. Right, there you have it, folks. Be sure to hit the like button. There's 65 of you here right now and 31 likes. That means some of you are freeloading. There is a charge for being here. You have to hit the like button. Well, apparently Lindsay Halligan, the prosecutor, didn't inform the Attorney General or Trump that she was going to charge Letitia James. So it just makes the argument that Trump's on revenge tour all the more comical because he didn't even know about it, apparently. That's the big story. Attorney General Pam Bondi was called off guard Thursday when President Donald Trump's handpicked attorney, Lindsay Halligan, secured New York Attorney General Letitia James' indictment from a grand jury. 2 sources familiar with what happened told CNN. Well, that runs contrary to the narrative that Trump is on a revenge tour. A grand jury on Thursday indicted James on 2 charges, bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution. By the way, if there was no merit to the case, if there's no prima facie case for bank fraud, if Trump was just going after his enemies, a grand jury wouldn't have returned an indictment. The grand jury is not made up of Trump acolytes. The grand jury was in Washington, D.C. It's comprised of Democrats, primarily. Halligan's been running the Eastern District of Virginia for just over 2 weeks, did not coordinate with Bondi or other leaders of the Justice Department or inform them about the timing. Grand jury on Thursday indicted James on 2 counts: bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution. CNN previously reported that Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd reviewed the case against as James this week, reflecting the advice of former U.S. Attorney Eric Siebert. Well, too bad. Pam Bondi got it wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Isn't that racist, calling them colored people? No, it's not. It was the term applied to Black Americans, by Black Americans and white Americans for decades. Perfectly acceptable. Hence the reason why it's known as the National Association for Advancement of Colored People, not the National Association for Advancement of Black People. Colored people. Condemns the indictment of Letitia James. Oh, here comes the race hustling. So they didn't condemn the indictment of Donald Trump by Letitia James. That was racist, right? Because he's white, she's black, must have been racist. Courtney says, I got my first colonoscopy on Wednesday. I'm 45. It's really my life now. No. I've had one colonoscopy in my life. Never had another one. What are you talking about? Your life. You plan on going every year? Following the indictment of New York Attorney General Letitia James, NAACP President Derek Johnson and CEO released a statement below. From Lisa Cook of the Federal Reserve to Gwen Wilcox of the National Labor Relations Board, Carla Hayden from the Library of Congress, and now Tish James, Trump has repeatedly targeted black women in positions of power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women. 4 at the federal level, 1 at a state level, and Trump is targeting black women. The State Department alone has lost over 4,000 people, the vast majority of them white. Is he targeting white men? Trump has fired white female flag officers, white male flag officers, but the NAACP, that is a racism. The preponderance of people fired by the Trump administration or gone after legally have been white men. But apparently, because a couple of little black ladies got picked on, it's racist. This is another race hustling organization that has outlasted its utility in the society. Trump is coming for his political opponents, and none of us should be surprised. Well, or his political opponents exclusively black women? These people are stupid, dumb, or dumber than a box of rocks. One of 3 in our team, brand new at the time. Yeah, it's always the race card. You were a member of the NAACP. I'm proud to say I've never been a member of that organization, nor a member of the National Rifle Association. Not a member of either one. Never have been. Nor am I a member, or have I been a member of Turning Point USA. So why was Letitia James indicted? This is from Al Jazeera. 2 accounts: bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution. Her first court appearance is set for October 24th, and I think I'll throw a party that day. The 66-year-old has been in office since 2019 when she ran on one campaign issue: I will get Trump, when he was president. Prosecutors allege she misrepresented details on a mortgage application in order to secure more favorable loan terms. And the indictment alleges that in 2020, she bought a 3-bedroom house in Norfolk, Virginia, and obtained better mortgage terms by claiming it would be a secondary residence. Instead, prosecutors say she treated it as a rental property, leasing it to a family. That misrepresentation allegedly lowered her loan costs and over time saved her nearly $19,000. U.S. Prosecutor Lindsay Halligan said if James is convicted, she could face up to 30 years in prison on each count, as well as fines of up to $1 million per charge. So the Guardian claims that she only got a $600 benefit from this. Where's this at? Oh, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't that. One of the other sources said she only got a $600. The Guardian, yeah. Oh, yeah, here it is. So the Guardian does claim it. So are you really going to believe the Attorney General of New York would commit this over $600 a year, says the lawyer? Let's see, that's a lie. It's more than $600 a year. It's not just the $20,000 she saved by getting favorable terms in the mortgage. She's also renting the property out. She got a discounted loan, claiming it was a residence, and then rented it out. She made rental income to pay her mortgage. She made money hand over fist. She defrauded everybody. I mean, give me 2% loan for another house I buy and I rent it out and I'll claim it's my residence. That's fraud. Fraud, 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 fraud. But everybody does it. That's the Democrats' line now. Everybody does it. I don't do it. Do you do it? Who here commits mortgage fraud? You don't have to expose yourself. I bet Courtney doesn't commit mortgage fraud. I didn't commit. I can't afford mortgage fraud. I can barely afford the one mortgage I have. I'm a debt slave to the tax man of Pennsylvania and to the bank. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So let's talk about this. U.S. Prosecutor Lindsay Halligan said if James is convicted, 30 years in prison on each count. Wow. A resident of Brooklyn, New York, but she bought a home. Let's check this out. She bought a home in Virginia. I'm trying to make it bigger here. Sorry, folks. So let me do this here. There we go. There we go. All right. Criminal docket 225 CR 122. Bank fraud, false statements. Letitia James was a resident of Brooklyn, New York, and the borrower of a Fannie Mae backed. Oh, look. How does she qualify for Fannie Mae? That's for poor people. How does a rich, privileged, elite black attorney general of New York get I can't get a Fannie Mae back loan. She makes more money than I do. I'm a disabled veteran. I don't give loans like that. A Fannie Mae backed mortgage for the property located at 3121 Perone Avenue, Norfolk, Virginia. OVM Financial, also known as Old Virginia Mortgage, was a mortgage lending business located in Virginia Beach, engaged in the business of originating, underwriting residential mortgage loans, including those backed by the Federal National Mortgage Association. OVM Financial qualified as a financial institution. Fannie Mae was a federally chartered corporation that purchased guaranteed. Okay, all right, wait a minute. First Savings Bank was, on or about 17 August 2020, James, after she went after Trump, as a sole borrower, purchased a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom property located at 3121 Perone Avenue, Norfolk, for approximately $137,000. So put this in scope. Well, she was only saving $600 per year. Well, she saved $20,000 on a $137,000 property. Do the math. That's pretty good savings. Financed with a mortgage of approximately $109,000. That's even better. She borrowed $109,000 and saved $20,000. She saved at least 17% by lying. Wow. The loan was originated by OVM Financial under signed second home rider, which required James as a sole borrower to occupy and use the property as her secondary residence and prohibited its use as a time-sharing or other shared ownership arrangement or agreement that requires either to rent the property, give any other person any control. So she can't even let someone use it. She has to live there part-time. No one else can live there. Despite these representations, the property was not occupied or used by James's secondary residence, was instead used as a rental investment property. So she bought the property, falsely claimed it was a residence. They're claiming it was a mistake. Got a discounted loan, which saved 17% of the cost. And then, in violation of the terms, rented it out. Clearly, her intent all along was to buy it as an investment property to rent out. Misrepresentation allowed James to obtain favorable loan terms not available for investment properties, including a note rate of 3%, avoiding a nearly 1% higher comparable investment property rate of 3.815, resulting in approximately $17,837 in rate savings over the life of the loan. A seller credit of approximately $3,288, credit for investment properties by approximately $1,096 for total ill-gotten gains of $18,933 over the life of the loan. And she financed a business, a rental property, and made even more money because she would. Anyway, James Universal Property Application for Homeowners Insurance indicated owner-occupied non-seasonal use, further misrepresenting the intended use of the property, which meant it wasn't a summer home. It meant it was basically a residence where she lived at. But she is the Attorney General of New York. Why is she buying a home in Virginia, in Norfolk, when she is a Attorney General in New York? If she's buying a summer vacation house, that's different. The loan was acquired or assigned by First Savings Bank in March 2020, exposing it to risk associated with the misrepresentation. So First Savings Bank was exposed to the risk because it was a misrepresented loan. On or about 7 August and through at least January 2024 in the Eastern District of Virginia and elsewhere, the defendant, Letitia James, did knowingly execute and attempt to execute a scheme to artifice and defraud OVM Financial and First Savings Bank financial institutions and to obtain monies, funds, and credits owned by and under the custody and control of OVM Financial and First Savings by means of false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, promises. The scheme involved falsely representing the prone property as a secondary residence to obtain favorable mortgage terms while using it as investment property with no intended or actual personal occupancy or use by her, which is what I just said. Violation, Title 18, United States Code, Section 1344. False statements to a financial institution, 18 U.S. Code 1014. The allegations in paragraphs 1 through 12 are re-alleged and incorporated herein. From on or about 28 July 2020 through at least 31 August 2020 in the District of Virginia elsewhere, the defendant did knowingly make and cause to be made false statements and reports for the purpose of influencing the action of OBM Financial, a Fannie Mae backed lender, which only poor people are supposed to have access to, upon an application for loan, in that James represented and affirmed in uniform residential loan applications and related documents that the prone property would be used as a secondary residence, when in truth and fact, as James knew then, the property was intended and used as an investment property with no intended actual personal occupancy for use for her. Violation of Title 18 U.S. Code Section 1014. Pursuant to the Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure, upon conviction of offenses in counts 1 and 2, the defendant Letitia James shall forfeit to the United States any property constituting or derived from proceeds obtained directly or indirectly as a result of such violations, including but not limited to a money judgment in the amount of $18,933. If any property described above as a result of any act or omission cannot be located upon exercise of due diligence and has been transferred or sold or deposited to a third party, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be divided without difficulty, the United States shall be entitled to a forfeiture of substitute property pursuant to Title 21 U.S. Code Section 853, Paragraph B, as incorporated by Title 18 U.S. Code Section 982, Paragraph B, Subsection 1. These criminals, man. They're so stupid. So stupid. So stupid. But The Guardian says everybody's doing it. Yeah, she's a freaking attorney general, a lawyer. She's not 35. She's 66. She committed this fraud when she was in her 60s. Are you really going to believe the Attorney General of New York would commit this over $600 a year, says one lawyer? Yeah, sure. A prosecutor installed by Trump may have been able to secure an indictment against the New York Attorney General, but actually getting eviction may be an uphill battle. Even before the grand jury handed down the indictment, there was a deep skepticism about possible charges. Career prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Eastern Virginia had looked at accusations that she committed fraud and concluded there was no probable cause to charge the case. Really? Really? I think there's probable cause. These are some pretty dim-witted attorneys. Some pretty dim-witted attorneys. I just bankrupt her for charges. I mean, she's obviously, based on what they've shown us, she appears to be guilty. Obviously, I won't be on the jury because I've already formed an opinion. And again, the Comey case is about Congress. That's the wrong case. The Attorney General should be prosecuting James Comey for violating the FISA Act and defrauding the FISA court. That's a serious felony. As a counterintelligence agent, badge credentialed federal law enforcement official, I can tell you that defrauding a FISA court is a serious offense. First off, the FISA court system was set up because of the abuse of the intelligence community back in the 1960s and early 70s, spying on civil rights leaders, student groups, Americans, Army intelligence, Navy intelligence, FBI, national security agency, everybody spying on Americans. They shouldn't have been doing that. So the church hearings revealed that, and we came up with restrictions. The FISA court was one of them. And the FISA court is based on trust that a classified court will not abuse the authority. Well, James Comey, Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, Bruce Orr, they all abused that by fraudulently obtaining a warrant to spy on Carter Page, a known controlled asset by the CIA in the source registry. A simple review would have discovered that, but they knew he was a source, and they omitted that information. That is defrauding the FISA court. Comey greenlit this, and he even signed one of the warrants. And they used that as a false predicate to get after General Michael Flynn, to get after Trump's attorney, to get after Trump. They spied on the President of the United States as a candidate and as a sitting president. James Comey sat in the White House and lied to the President of the United States and said, you're not a person of interest in the case we're pursuing, when he had already got a warrant and was spying on the president by putting listening devices in his offices. This is the greatest scandal in the history. The Democrats are evil. They are fraudulent. They are vile. They're repulsive. There is no redeeming value to that party. And the fact that no Democrats stand up and say this other than John Fetterman proves how corrupt the party is. When we find corrupt Republicans or evil Republicans, we expose them. We get rid of them. But the Democrats, look at Nancy Pelosi defending a sick lunatic in Virginia who dreams of assassinating Republicans, running for office in Virginia. She says, well, he's the best candidate, so on balance, we're going to go with him. Yeah. Wow. Questions about Ms. James' real estate holdings come to light this year when a Republican critic said she committed fraud on paperwork related to homes that she owns. The 5-page indictment accuses her of having said in a loan document that she would use the home she bought in 2020 as a secondary residence to obtain favorable loan terms that could save her $19,000. Prosecutors say she violated the loan agreement by renting out the home. One count accuses her of seeking to defraud 2 financial institutions. The other accuses her of making false statements. Yep. She denies the allegations. Well, of course she denies it. Most criminals do deny things. Boy. So she accused Trump of defrauding lenders by overvaluing his $2 billion, by his assets by $2 billion. But Trump didn't defraud anybody. He didn't defraud anybody. And the bank said so, yet he was convicted. There was no case there, and they got a conviction. And these lawyers are rushing to defend James, saying there's nothing here. We have her signature. We have evidence of her renting out a place she claimed was a residence. She didn't give back the $19,000. She didn't go back and change the terms of the loan and start paying a higher interest rate. She defrauded the government. It's not a mistake. I don't care if she subsequently signed something and had a different amount. It doesn't matter. She cheated. First off, this sentence is completely false by the New York Times. Since return to the White House, Trump has undertaken a wide range of retribution campaign against those he views as his enemies. Who? There isn't a single case filed until this one against any enemies of Trump. Who? People got fired for incompetence. That's not an enemy. People got fired for producing wokeism in the military. That's not enemies. That's just incompetent people being relieved. So then it says to do so, he's used the Justice Department, which has for decades operated independently from the president. Well, the only time the Justice Department's operated independently from the president is when the Justice Department was under Trump the first time. And Sessions was a lunatic fool, an idiot of the highest order. And then, of course, the later Attorney General was no better. Yeah, exactly. Before you start slinging darts at someone else, make sure you're not living in a glass house. Yeah, she deliberately lied. There's no mistake here. There's no minor thing here. Folks, this is the one time she's been caught. What else has she done? See, that always raises the question. When we find one piece of smoke, where's the fire? There's probably a lot more going on here than we realize. Let's dig a little deeper into Letitia James' financial history. Let's go back a little further than 2020, 2019. You don't suddenly just start cheating people in your 60s. People with that lack of morality don't just appear. Unless something's happened, they've had an aneurysm in their head that kind of shifted or they've had some sort of, life-altering experience. But people generally don't change their character. A leopard can't change its spots. If she were 20 and it happened, now she's 40, it never happened again, okay. Leopards can change their spots. They're still adaptable when they're young. Skin still changes. But you don't suddenly just decide to start defrauding people in your 60s. By the way, what's her salary? Let's check out what her salary is. And this will make this even more sick. Letitia James' annual salary history. Oh, here we go. That's even better. Okay. Oh. She was a public advocate in 2013. She made $160,000 a year then. 2004, she was a council member for New York City, made $90,000 back then. By 2009, that was $112,000. By 2013, she made $160,000 a year. In 2017, she made $165,000. Now she makes $220,000 a year, and she's defrauding banks. I suggest we do a forensic audit. I mean, she's under charges for crimes. Why not go deeper? $220,000 a year, times 19. She makes 4,180,000 rand a year as a public servant, and she's cheating people. Wow. Wow. James owns properties that form the backbone of her net worth. She owns a property in Virginia valued at $800,000 to $1 million. Is that the one she bought for $137,000? Holdings add to her net worth alongside modest retirement savings and pension benefits, unlike celebrities who earn wealth through brand partnerships. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, no, there's no mistake here. It's not everybody doing it. It's Letitia James doing it. It's Letitia James doing it, not anybody else, folks. Oh, this is comical. The Associated, or the French press agency, and who's the they don't give an article. I hate this. See, the Cockprod 24 runs a story that they paid for that comes through their network from AFP. They do it with Bloomberg too, but there's no attribution to the story. There's only an attribution on the photo, but not on the story. That's dishonest. That's not journalism. And, The Economist does that, but that's different. That's in their magazine. Like human trafficking, how the U.S. deported 5 men to Eswatini. Roberto Mosquera and other deportees were sent to Eswatini under a controversial U.S. deal, leaving their jail without charges in a maximum security prison with limited contact with families or legal counsel. Deportees, many of whom had long served their sentences in the U.S., were unexpectedly deported to a distant country, often without their families' knowledge, raising concerns of rights violations and modern-day human trafficking. Human trafficking? These are murderers, rapists, and pedophiles, convicted of those crimes. They have no rights. No. Yep. Immigration Customs Enforcement agents picked up the 58-year-old Cuban at a routine check-in with immigration officials on 13 June in Miramar. They told his family they had sent him back to Cuba, a country he left more than 4 decades ago as a 13-year-old. But on 16 July, he recognized her lifelong friend. A photograph posted on X by U.S. Assistant Homeland Security Tricia McLaughlin, who announced that he had been sent to Eswatini. The Cuban and the nationals of Jamaica, Laos, Vietnam, and Yemen were sent to the kingdom under a deal seen by AFP, in which Eswatini agreed to accept up to 160 deportees in exchange for $5.1 million to build its border and migration management capacity. 60-year-old Jamaican Orville Etoro was repatriated to Jamaica in September, but 10 more deportees arrived on 9 October, according to Eswatini. Washington said the 5 men sent to Eswatini were criminals convicted of charges from child rape to murder, but lawyers and relatives told AFP that all of them had long served their sentences and been living free in the United States for years. So they're not convicted criminals? They didn't commit these crimes, and they're not illegal aliens? They're illegal aliens. They're being deported. They're convicted criminals. The fact that they didn't drag them out of prisons... Wow. Shouldn't have broke the law. Shouldn't be a rapist. Shouldn't be a murderer. Shouldn't be a pedo. What is going on? What are you guys talking about over here? Yeah, if they weren't criminals enough, grand jury won't cover the rot. I hope so. Ingrid says she cultivated that dishonesty over years, it seems. So how are we going to solve the mess we have in Western society? Are we going to keep on integrating garbage? That's a good question, Buster B. Yeah, the Democrats have no morals, but they preach ethics. She should be disbarred. They disbarred Rudy Giuliani on a bogus claim in New York. That was a miscarriage of justice, taking his law license away. Can I see if Hamas is going to release all the hostages? I hadn't thought about it, Alan. I hadn't thought about it. There's nothing to be gained by holding on to anyone because the campaign will just start again. Nothing to be gained. Well, Nadim Touatoua's mourning wife hailed for providing leadership in the France rigmarole. What? ANC leaders, including National Executive Committee members, have descended on KwaZulu-Natal to pay their last respects to Ambassador Mtatwa, who fell from the 22nd floor of a hotel in Paris. They split themselves among groups that fetched Ambassador's body at the airport, gave political lectures, and addressed the memorial lecture in the name of the late politician. Wait till we uncover what this guy was involved in. The family appeared to have gone through a difficult time while trying to retrieve the body. Well, oh, jeez. You are the top cop in South Africa. The Democratic member of Parliament berates Masemola for not knowing who Kat Mtatla is. I'm sorry. Fanny Masemola doesn't know who Kat Mtatla is? I'm just some American dude living in Pennsylvania, 6,000 miles away from South Africa, and I know who the cat is. And I'm not talking about Becca Chile, the cat in the hat. Seriously? Fanny Masemola doesn't know who the cat is? National Police Commissioner General Fanny Masemola came under heavy scrutiny from DA MP Glenys Breitenbach during the sitting of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Commission established to investigate the criminal infiltration of the police. Breitenbach questioned why Masemola allowed suspended police minister Senzo Mkhunu to pressure him with unlawful requests. Oh my goodness. You are the top cop in South Africa, the only real general in the South African police service. Why did you not just tell him no? Why did you not tell him that you wouldn't close the task team and it was doing a good job? He's the minister of police. He is above me, as Masemola said. Furious with Masemola, Breitenbach said he should have told Mkhunu to go to hell. Well, I didn't tell him that. I told him a nice way, but he did not listen. Breitenbach was not impressed. General, you're way too nice. Nobody can tell you what to do. You have a lot of power. You don't seem to want to exercise it. I will do it in future if I'm still there. She expressed concern that Masemola had no idea about the identities of those intimately linked to the underworld. Now I know, he says. Breitenbach asked how he could not have known alleged underworld kingpin Vusi Musi Kat Mtatla. This one we did not know. It seems like you were the only one who didn't know. Exactly. Fanny Masemola claims he didn't know who the cat was. I live in America. I know who the cat is. What the hell are you people talking about here? What is this conversation about jerseys over here? Yes, that's right, Courtney. The junior service in the Navy will turn 250 years old. Thank you for the super chat. Making the clouds, making the rain fall. Fanny Masemola didn't know who the cat was. Well, this is a setback for freedom and liberty. Operation Doo-Doo Head celebrates court win over hospital gatekeeping application. South African Human Rights Commission lost its urgent application against Operation Doo-Doo Head in the March and March movement, who are accused of blocking foreign nationals. No. It's not just foreign nationals. These racists assaulted a white elderly South African citizen and denied him entry, demanding he show ID. You see, Operation Doo-Doo Head wants to implement the racist pass laws. You have to produce ID for them. Who the hell do they think they are? Acting Judge David Sachs struck the application off the rolls with cost ruling that there's no urgency since the incidents occurred in July and respondents were given only 4 days to prepare responses. The courtroom erupted in song as the vigilante group leaders celebrated, with Jacinta Ngubisi Zuma saying the ruling showed the SARC was not above the law, and Zandile Dabulo declaring the groups were fighting for South Africans. No, you're xenophobic racist. That's what you are. The court in KZN erupted. Yep. So, this is ridiculous. Advocate Vishalan Naidu, instructed by the state attorney representing the ministers and MEC, cited as respondents, argued that the notice of motion granted in September by Judge Bruce Betterson ordered the SAHRC to provide an unredacted founding affidavit which revealed the identities of those referred to in the July incidents. We're not stopping South Africans if people are correctly documented, but we don't want people who are not supposed to be in our country getting laws in favor of them. No, you have no authority to stop people and demand an ID. You're not law enforcement. You're not government officials. You're a vigilante scumbag. And you did stop South Africans. We have the video evidence of you stopping a white South African because you're racist and assumed he wasn't South African. You're a racist, making an assumption that white people aren't South Africans and demanding they show ID to enter the hospital. Who the hell do you think you are? You want to try that on me? It'll be the last thing you ever do. The last thing you ever do. How can somebody in the chat post a photo of Nas? Both you can't put chat photos. What are you guys talking about? Fonz, there's no photos in here. You can't put photos in the chat. What are you talking about? Thank you for explaining, but there are no photos in the chat. You can't put photos in chat. Monday is Columbus Day. But there's no photo in the chat. What are you guys talking about? Good morning, Stinkmaster. Well, Norwegian princess Martha Louise is fighting back over her interracial marriage to this flamboyantly dressed gentleman, whom I think she's just his beard. Princess Martha Louise of Norway and her husband Durek Vervet fired back at critics spreading rumors that their marriage is a sham, and they did it style, sass, and a whole lot of lavender. Style, sass, and a whole lot of lavender. Yeah, because dudes do that. Oh, Insiders Group. Gotcha. Well, that's not here. You guys are arguing over something in a WhatsApp group. The royal couple recently took to social media to address speculation that theirs is a lavender marriage, a term used to describe when people marry to hide their true sexuality. Thought it was lavender. Plot twist, it's just love and legacy. In a video clip, she and Dirk looked confused by the question, what's a lavender marriage? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Norway. I don't care about their marriage either. It's comical. Ah, that's just silly. Kenny Kinede was seen at the Cat's house twice. Not once. Reinstated MMC for transport in the city of Johannesburg. Kenny Kinede, whom Gate McKenzie went to the mats for. Well, he's been to the Cat's house twice. Not once. As alleged, twice. National Police Commissioner Fanny Masemola has revealed that Patriotic Alliance Deputy President Kenny Kinede was seen at murder-accused Katiso KT Molefa's house twice. In July, Kinede was found at Molefa's house when the police came to arrest Molefa for the alleged murder of musician Upa Sekofo. DJ Somebody. When asked what he was doing at the house, Kinede said he was accompanying a journalist. Well, he's been there twice, apparently, not just once. Twice. All right, I'm going to tell you what. If you all are crapping on Nas Bota, I'm going to start taking you out of my chat. Nas is a personal friend. Knock it off. Social Development's Director General admits that $3 million rand for New York was a bit excessive. The department spent millions for 7 officials, including 5-star hotels, to attend a UN conference. Director General of the Department of Social Development said on Thursday that lessons have been learned from the excessive expenditure by officials on trip to New York. Lessons have been learned. New Deputy Director General for Welfare spent $389,000 for 2 weeks at a 5-star hotel with a private butler, one of the most expensive in Manhattan. She also spent $200,000 on flights, $419,000 on transfers, and $40,000 in travel and subsistence. That is $589,000, $989,000, $1,030,000 rand. Wow. Wow. 5-star hotels. What gives these scumbags the right to stay in 5-star hotels? The Hampton Inn, the Hilton Garden Inn, these are available. Best Western's available in New York. $200 a night. De Beers wants the U.S. to lift tariffs on diamonds. Good luck with that, buddy. Levies raise prices for consumers, disrupt supply chain, says Baron Peterson. No shit, Sherlock. U.S. tariffs on natural diamonds continue to weigh heavily on South Africa's already struggling diamond sector. Addressing a Joburg mining conference, he called for the U.S. to help revive the natural diamond market by lifting its duties and imports on precious stones. Well, here's an idea. How about you, Baron Peterson, go talk to the ANC and tell them to remove the quotas on U.S. automobile imports, reduce the tariffs, the punitive tariffs against U.S. goods, root out the corruption in your postal service and your immigration, shaking down U.S. exporters for the tune of 60 and 100% tariffs on packages sent there. And then we'll talk about removing the tariffs on diamonds. Until then, go bankrupt. Go bankrupt. You're allowed to fleece the world out of billions of dollars over the past 135 years. So Who cares? Who cares? Go bankrupt. According to a Sapson inquiry, Mtatla is tied to 80 corruption cases. Wow. National Police Commissioner Fanny Masamola revealed there were about 80 cases linked to alleged cartel member, controversial businessman Vusu Musikat Mtatla, whom he didn't know. He didn't know. There are 80 cases dating back to 2007, and as a police commissioner, he didn't know who this guy was. You would think this police commissioner, if you had somebody who's notorious and has 3 or 4 major cases, 5 or 6 major cases, you'd probably be briefed on this, and you'd at least know who the guy is. He has 80 cases against him. 80 cases! And Fanny Masamola didn't know who he was. What exactly is Fanny Masamola doing as the commissioner? Collecting a paycheck? Wow. Wow. Insane. Mtatla is accused of orchestrating a web of criminal activity ranging from attempted murder to high-level corruption and fraud, according to recent revelations by law enforcement investigative bodies. State alleged that Mtatla hired hitmen in an attempted assassination plot supported by evidence of significant bank transfers made to his co-accused shortly after the attack. In a further attempt to evade authorities, he is believed to have used fraudulent documents, including a forged Eswatini ID card, to conceal his identity and whereabouts. The state also contended that Mtatla attempted to destroy digital evidence after police returned his mobile devices following a search. These actions, they argue, were aimed at obstructing the investigation and concealing his broader criminal operations. Most damning revelations, which Iowa reported from the Madlunga Commission of Inquiry into Police Corruption, which identified Mtatla as a key figure in the powerful criminal syndicate known as the Big Five: drug trafficking, vehicle hijackings, and contract killings. Linked to the massive $2 billion fraud and corruption case at Tembisa Hospital, a case exposed by Babita Deokaran, who was assassinated. Mtatla's company, Medicare 24, controversially awarded $360 million health services contract, despite lacking any proven track record in the sector. The list goes on and on. Well, the Sunday Times, Business Times, gleefully announces that Trump's peace deal in the Congo, as I said, probably wouldn't last, is faltering. They don't care the peace is over, just so they can blame Trump for it. The expected signing of economic framework for the Democratic Republic of Congo and neighboring Rwanda will no longer happen this week, dealing another setback to the Trump administration's efforts to implement a peace deal and spur Western investment in the region. Another setback? That's the first setback. What do you mean another? That's the first one. Rwanda-backed M23 rebels seized 2 major cities during DRC in January and February, posing a big threat, but the peace agreement came after that. Trump is pursuing an ambitious bid to broker peace and draw billions of dollars of Western investment into the region. Though he says the war is over, Congo's army and the M23 are reinforcing military positions. Yeah, but they haven't been fighting since they signed the agreement. Yeah, they just love to hate on Trump. Israel completes its first phase of Gaza withdrawal as the ceasefire begins. 72-hour countdown for all hostages, living and dead, still held by Hamas, to be released. Israel has completed the first phase of withdrawal from Gaza as the ceasefire to end Hamas war ends. IDF retreated to a line agreed to by Israel and Hamas in the deal, which was signed in the Egyptian resort town of Sharm el-Sheikh. The line includes Gaza town of Rafah, a point of contention. There you go. Israel will now control just 53% of the Gaza Strip. Pete Hegseth makes a deal to send Qatari pilots for training to an airbase I just passed. Mountain Home Air Base, south of Boise, Idaho. I just passed it the other day. Hegseth makes a deal for Qatari pilots to train on F-15 fighter jets at U.S. Air Force Base in Idaho. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and his Qatari counterpart signed a joint agreement today for the U.S. to host a contingent of Gulf State pilots for F-15 jet fighters at an Air Force base in Idaho. The location will host a contingent of Qatari F-15 pilots, Qatari F-15 and their pilots to enhance combat training and increase lethal interoperations. Qatari pilots aren't the only non-American contingent based in Mountain Home. The Singapore fighter crews have been stationed there since 2009 as part of a 25-year training program. There you go. So Mountain Home in Idaho, F-15s. U.S. proposes Chinese airlines stop flying over Russia on routes. The routes over Russia save time and fuel, but the country has barred U.S. flights from its airspace. Trump proposal aims to level the playing field. Trump administration is proposing to reroute Chinese airlines from flying over Russia on flights to and from the United States. The short route over Russia gives Chinese airlines an advantage over U.S. airlines since the route can save time and fuel. The United States banned all Russian aircraft from flying over U.S. after Russia invaded Ukraine, and Russia subsequently banned all U.S. airlines from using Russian airspace. This means U.S. flights to Asia do not fly over eastern Russia, which can cut 1 to 2 hours of flight time. Well, now the Chinese are going to have to abide by that because they have an unfair artificial advantage, burning less fuel. Japan's ruling coalition is falling apart days before the prime minister vote. Pressure piles on Takachi to quickly win new political partner. Japan lurched toward political uncertainty Friday as newly elected leader of its ruling party lost the support of her coalition partner just days before the parliament is set on the country's to vote the next prime minister. A mere 6 days after Sane Takachi won the Liberal Democratic Party's leadership, the head of the Buddhist party, Kometo, announced the party's departure from the ruling camp, breaking an on-again, off-again political alliance that has lasted for 26 years. She said the breakup was unilateral and called it extremely regrettable. Well, now they're in trouble. Japan is America's leading Indo-Pacific ally, along with South Korea, and this is not good news. Emmanuel Macron reappoints the guy he just resigned. Emmanuel Macron reappoints Le Cornu as French prime minister. He just resigned on the 6th of October. French President Emmanuel Macron reappointed Sébastien Lecornu as prime minister on October 10th, despite Lecornu resigning from position 4 days prior. Oh my gosh. You can't make that. You can't make that up. You can't make that up. My goodness. Youth unemployment in Canada hits a 15-year high, folks. Canada's youth unemployment rate hit 14.7%, its highest level since 2010. Not looking good up there. Massive blast earlier today. An explosive plant in Tennessee left multiple people dead, several unaccounted for. Wow. Here's an update after the blast. That was a broadcast. Okay, not a story. Let's see if this story has been updated. I'll refresh it. 18 people are dead or missing after a massive blast obliterated a building in Tennessee's explosive factory. Early morning explosion at Accurate Energetic Systems, which manufactures military and demolition explosives, left charred debris and mangled vehicles across the vast area. Blast was felt as far as 15 miles away and scattered debris over half a square mile. As of Friday evening, authorities are still working to contact some of the next of kin who are believed to have been inside the building. It's hell. It's hell on us. It's hell on everybody involved. Most devastating scene that I've seen in my career. I tell you right off the top of my head that there's 3 families that's involved in this, and I'm very close to. When you have small counties like this, we know each other, we communicate with each other, we love each other. The blast shook nearby homes and set off smaller explosions. Explosion happened around 7:45. Was a devastating blast, but responders were able to secure the scene by late morning. 3 people with minor injuries from the explosion were treated at TriStar medical facilities in Dixon. 2 people were released. 1 person was still receiving treatment in the emergency room. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family, co-workers, and community members affected by this incident, company said on Facebook. Company specialized in making military explosives located about an hour southwest of Nashville. Last month, the Defense Department awarded Accurate Energetic Systems a contract for $120 million for the procurement of TNT. The search may last for days. The investigation is probably going to go on for days. The facility, they do manufacture not only military, but demolition explosives for road work and things like that. It's a well-loved company in the area, so this is going to have a devastating impact on quite a few families. It's heartbreaking. Residents who live near the facility said they felt the impact of the explosion. I thought the house had collapsed with me inside, it said Gentry Stover. I was very close to Accurate, and I realized about 30 seconds after I woke up that I had to have been that. Cody Warren lives in Lobelville, 21 miles away from the facility. With the sound of the explosion woke him up, and he thought lightning struck his house. Man, oh man, that's crazy. Trump confirms an upcoming trip to Egypt, Israel, and he will meet with the hostages, speak to the Knesset during celebratory visit. It'll be another victory lap for President Trump, meeting the hostages. President Trump said he'll do a quick visit to Egypt and Israel, where he will address the country's legislature, do a victory lap in the region over Israel and Hamas, agreeing to the first part of his ceasefire. I'll be going to Israel, speaking to the Knesset, I think early on, and then I'm going to Egypt. They were terrific. Yep, expect to land in Israel on Monday morning. Unclear when he'll be leaving. Oh, Trump's next trip abroad. Not like Sleepy Joe. Workers across the government are getting layoff notices. Trump is following through on a threat. Federal Health, Homeland Security, Education, Energy, Treasury Department workers received layoff notices today, according to agency officials, congressional aides, and other court documents. The White House is carrying out another round of cuts to fulfill President Trump's threats to cull agencies and jobs while the government is shut down. The administration did not specify how many workers or agencies will be affected, but Trump said the number of layoffs would be a lot and promised cuts would be Democrat-oriented. That's funny. That's funny. Democrat-oriented. They're not going to like that, are they? Yeah. So, here are the layoffs. Not many, actually. They're freaking out. They're freaking out over layoffs. I mean, they make a whole story about it. So, the Trump administration layoffs more than 4,000 federal workers out of 1 million plus. So, Treasury has 81,000 employees. They're laying off 1,400. Health and Human Services has 79,000, laying off 1,200. Education Department has 2,400, laying off 466. That's kind of big. Housing and Urban Development, 6,000, laying off 442. Commerce, 42,000, laying off 315. Energy, they have 13,000, laying off 187. And Homeland Security has 219,000, laying off 176. That's a drop in a bucket. That's a bucket, drop in a bucket. And they're freaking out over it. Trump will impose a 100% tariff, and I predicted it here last night. I said Trump will put a tariff at 100%. No inside sources. No inside information, simply an honest analysis and assessment. I said 100%, and that's what Trump has decided. Yet, President said export controls and critical software also take effect on November 1st. Effective November 1st, China will face a 100% tariff. Wow. President Trump on Friday said the United States will impose an additional 100% tariffs on Chinese goods and export controls and critical software starting November 1st. This is because China and its actions on rare earth elements which are harming the planet, not just America. Trump's following through on his promises. Well, guess what happened to stocks? Stocks fall sharply on Trump's renewed threat of China tariffs. The S&P 500 slumped more than 2% for the first time in 6 months, rattling investors after a long stretch of gains. Stock market slumped to its worst one-day showing since tariffs roiled markets in April as the specter of the trade war returned between Beijing and Washington. Look at that. One of the policies we're calculating at this moment is a massive increase of tariffs on Chinese products coming into the United States. There are many other countermeasures that are likewise under serious consideration. Tech stocks were hit particularly hard on Friday with NVIDIA down 5%, AMD 8%, and the broader semiconductor market falling 5%. U.S. oil prices fell more than 4% on Friday, less than $59 a barrel. Yay! Lower the price of gasoline. I love it, I love it, I love it. Trump announces deal with AstraZeneca to lower drug prices. The UK-based company will offer discount price to low-income Americans and make a $50 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing. Look what happens when you make America great and not make Biden family rich. Donald Trump announced an agreement with AstraZeneca to lower drug prices in the U.S. Yeah, they'll offer most favored drug pricing on all medications to Medicaid recipients, guaranteeing the lowest price available in any developed country. And they'll invest $50 billion in drug manufacturing research in a facility in Charlottesville, Virginia that will generate 3,600 jobs. Wow. Presidents have promised for years to lower the cost of health care, but my administration is actually the first to do it and do it substantially. Wow. Look at that. Trump is lowering drug prices. Pfizer agrees to a deal with Trump. What to know? Eli Lilly is one of the drug makers expected to follow suit. U.S. officials, that's back in September, announced a deal with Pfizer. The drug company's agreeing to cut prices for Americans. Look at that. Look at that. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. I got money on my hands, and my hands go up, and they stay there, and they stay there. Up, down, up, down. All I do is win, win, win. Trump just keeps winning. The golden hair warrior. Oh, baby. The Democrats are losing their minds. The Democrats are losing their minds. Trump has got AstraZeneca. They've got Pfizer. Oh, my goodness. It just goes on and on and on. And now Eli Lilly would be next to cut drug prices for Americans. And they said it couldn't be done. They said it couldn't be done. Well, it can't be done when the people that are negotiating this stuff are the ones taking money from these companies and putting it in their pockets to enrich themselves, like the Biden crime family. Obama's Egypt speech was not good. That was all just nonsense. Yeah, how do you figure out the explosion there, unless there were sensors in the place and they were relaying real-time information outside the building? I doubt it. Yeah, Chery wants to assemble vehicles in China. Well, they're already assembling vehicles. The first ones come off the lot. It wasn't Chery, it was the other company, Great Wall Motors, I think. Fires remain to kill a lot of people. That's really not the issue, Holden. We're not talking about that. We're talking about them cutting drug prices. Yeah, anyway, that's the news. And I wasn't even doing news tonight, but we thought we'd do it. 102 people here currently, folks. Be sure to hit that like button. Yep. Ooh. You know what, folks? You know what it is? I think it's time. I know we'll chase some people away. It's a weekend. Don't run away. Don't run away, folks. Don't run away. Don't turn around. Uh-oh. The commissar's in town. Uh-oh. It's not what I want. Come on, where are we at? Come on. We did Meerkats in Space last night. That was kind of fun. Yes. Here's the first one.
Money stuffed in my sofa, a treasure untold. Shearer's got a game ranch, stories untold.
Pala Pala, ritzy joint.
Glimmer and gold. Stay overnight, don't you stray.
Couch cushions hide a rainy day. Pala Pala,
Where the secrets play. Under the cushions,
the cash will stay. Pala Pala, don't give it away. Rainy day, rainy day. Hey.
Antelope run where the moonlight beams. Luxury whispers in velvet dreams. Sarah laughs, but nothing's
As it seems,
Game of chance or a clever scheme. Hidden fortune stitched in the seam. You'll never know till you're caught in the stream.
Pala Pala, where the secrets play. Under the cushions, the cash will stay. Pala Pala, don't give it away. Rainy day, rainy day. Hey. Song inspired by Cyril's personal bank, the couch cushions at his Pala Pala Game Ranch, $580,000. Big difference was it wasn't in rand, it was in dollars. Customs violation, currency violations, tax fraud, money laundering. Pala Pala, where the secrets play. Under the cushions, the cash will stay. Pala Pala, don't give it away. Rainy day, rainy day. Hey. Pala Pala, where the secrets play, folks. Oh yeah. What is this? I don't want your Premiere plan. I'm already paying a fortune for this website. Why? Oh, that's, I have to go there. Now they want me to, okay. There we go. Okay. Why do they keep doing that? I have a create. I don't need that. They're killing me here. Why am I not seeing? I don't like this. Playlist, songs. It's not showing me my lyrics on these songs. That's not cool. Anyway. Interesting. Yeah, anyway. Oh, there it is. Now they're showing up. What the heck? It was just a oversight there. It was weird. Yeah, the email. That's the one. That's what I was looking for. Sydney's jeans. Oh, yeah. Sydney's jeans.
Inbox screaming it's a digital riot. Plumos and scams, they just won't be quiet. A prince in exile wants to share his throne. I just want coffee and to be left alone. Delete, delete, they keep on spawning. Reply, reply, it's never ending. Email avalanche crashing down on me, buried alive in the spam debris. I never asked for your restless leg relief or a new roof deal, I just want some peace. Coupon war and a flash sale battle. My mind's the herd they're trying to cattle. Congrats, you won, I never entered. Every subject line feels off-centered. Scroll, scroll, my fingers are aching. Stop, stop, my patience is breaking. Email avalanche crashing down on me, buried alive in the spam debris. I never asked for your late night munchies or free weight loss pills, it's a spam junk spree.
Email avalanche.
Email avalanche crashing down on me, buried alive in the spam debris. I never asked for your restless leg relief or a new roof deal, I just want some peace. I just want some peace.
Sounds a lot like the guys that sang the Big Bang Theory. Yeah. Sounds a lot like them, doesn't it? Just like them, that song. Anyway, email avalanche. I like that one. Alabama Heat. Skipping past it. Anyway, folks, it's Saturday. We got some rugby coming up. No doubt about that. We've got some rugby coming up. Happy birthday to the grandson. That's why the cake is up there. Okay, I saw that. Any pharmaceutical company that is to seal those records for 100 years is shady at best. Any government that hides the Kennedy assassination for 70 years is shady at best. Early morning, 6:15 news and music with a colonel. What a lovely way to start the day. Did you have coffee as well, Ingrid? Yes, coffee. I didn't see what the Irish made about Palestine. What Irish? What Irish? Holden says precisely. Cyril is something. Buster, be careful. You're treading very closely towards getting a timeout, okay? There's no need for that, okay? Cyril's an ass. That's enough to say. All right. So, yeah. Charles, what's the word there, man? Why are my timestamps not here? Really annoying. It should always be there. Now, isn't that interesting? It doesn't show up in my studio. YouTube. Aha, that's not the point. That's not the point, Buster. People know what you meant. People know what you meant. All right, so yeah, anyway. What is that? Oh, Common Sense Conservatives. I didn't know that was in there. Always like this. Celebration. Letitia James charged. That's always good stuff. Yeah. All right. Enough of the nonsense. You guys can find better things to chat about than that. All right. Here we go, folks. We're going to have to make... Any ideas for a song tonight, guys? Anyone have an idea for a song tonight? Letitia. Under the Pump. Yep. Oh, let's do a mortgage fraud song, huh? Oh, let's do that. Create mortgage fraud. elite politicians. I don't know if that's going to work. Did you hear that about prize? That, yeah. I did. I reported on Philip. You must have missed the news. I reported on that earlier today. Probably one of the first to mention after the press published it. Okay. All right, let's see what happens. Tea, actually, Chris. Oh, okay. I'll drink a latte, but other than that, yeah, I don't care for coffee. I will drink a cappuccino in South Africa. I tried it in France. They weren't very good. Americans don't know what cappuccinos are. So, House of Cards. Well, this ought to be good. This ought to be good. Did I say male and female vocals? This says female vocals. Taxpayers giving a $48 billion budget for National Institutes of Health. Yeah? Don't doubt it. House of Cards. 2 songs coming up here, folks. 2 versions. Let's see. I've created a song for tonight. So, House of Cards. This is about mortgage fraud. All right, let's try the first one. House of Cards.
They build their castles on our backs. We're out here fighting. They're keeping track. Paper lies and gilded halls. Empty hands, but the hammer falls. It's a house of cards and it won't stand. Built on promises and sleight of hand. They play by rules they make and bend, while we're left broken, trying to mend.
She signed her name with shaking pen.
Dreamed a shelter for her kin, but the ink was stained with greedy plans. Their smiling masks, their dirty hands. Oh, they preach of faith, of right and just, but their gold is made of rust. It's a house of cards and it won't stand. Built on promises and sleight of hand.
I like it.
They play by rules they make and bend, while we're left broken, trying to mend. They'll toast their wine, they'll shake their fists, claim they're saints, but we know this: a wolf in wool, a serpent's grin. The game is rigged and we won't win.
Wow, that was good. Powerful. That was pretty good. Second version shorter by about 25 seconds. Probably a faster tempo.
They build their castles on our backs. We're out here fighting, they're keeping track. Paper lies and gilded halls, empty hands, but the hammer falls. It's a house of cards and it won't stand, built on promises and sleight of hand.
Like
they play by rules, they make and bend, while we're left broken, trying to mend.
She signed her name with shaking pen,
Dreamed a shelter for her kin,
but the ink was stained with greedy plans. Their smiling masks, their dirty hands.
oh, they preach a faith of right and just, but their gold is made of rust. It's a house of cards and it won't stand, built on promises and sleight of hand. They play by rules, they make and bend, while we're left broken, trying to mend. They'll toast their wine, they'll shake their fists, claim they're saints, but we know this, a wolf in wool, a serpent's grin. The game is rigged and we won't win.
Wow, folks. That's pretty good, huh? Pretty good. Pretty good. Yikes, is this the sign of the time? That's hang on. That's the stupid people one. Yep, got to do that one. So, yep. Good stuff. Lyrics are pretty good. All right, I'm going to wrap. Let me see. It's the Old Faithful. Hang on. That's the one. I got to publish that. I'm trying to publish these things. Why does it not let me say publish? Let me publish. Interesting. All right, cool beans. All right, folks, I got to wrap up here. Thanks for being here. I do have more messages today. I haven't had a chance to look at those, so cool. Cool. Thank you all. Be sure to hit the like button. We've got rugby coming at the morning. What time is the first one here? Let me take a look and see. I think it's 9 o'clock, but I'll double check here. That would be 3 p.m. Might be wrong about that. Maybe it's 10 o'clock. Give me a second here. There. I've got so many folders down. Interview. Where's the rugby at? Come on. There it is. Rugby banners. Okay. So we already had the Stormers. Tomorrow's Benetton. That's at 10 o'clock. Okay. Yeah. 10 o'clock's the first one. Then 12:30. Yep, and then the last one is at 2:30 tomorrow. So busy day for me tomorrow. First up is Benetton versus the Lions. If the Lions are going to win, this is their one chance. I think Benetton will win it. Leinster Sharks should be a slaughter. And Ulster versus the Bulls. Yep, that's coming up. All right, guys. Sounds like good. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. I'll try to publish those songs sometime soon, okay? Yep, well, no good night's rest. I'm off to the Veterans Organization to make sure that they're closed or that there's a crowd there. All right? And not just bilking us out of money, because there's been some allegations of that. So, cool beans. Thanks for being here, folks. God bless and have a good night. Appreciate it. Cheers. See you at the rugby tomorrow. Bye-bye.